This thing is gonna absolutely shred for him. All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we are building a $2,000-ish PC for my friend Brian. His PC just, took a dump on him, unfortunately, and he lost all of his files on his storage, and he is now in the market for a new PC. So he reached out to me to kind of see what he would do. He runs his small business off of his computer, so he didn't really want to risk losing all of his files again off of his SSDs, and we couldn't, without doing more research, we didn't know if it was a CPU or a memory related problem that corrupted all of his data. We're just gonna start fresh for him and build him a new computer. He said his budget is around 2,000 bucks, wants something that's gonna last him quite a while, another 4 or 5 years, and just wanted to get like the ultimate price to performance PC for that budget. So this is what we came up with. We are gonna be going with the 9800 X3D. For work, he just does, Microsoft Excel, a little bit of work on the web, nothing that requires anything more powerful than this productivity wise. And then in his free time, he likes to play some games. He plays a lot of Call of Duty, Battlefield, a little bit of Dead by Daylight. The 9800 X3D, as you guys know, it's the world's fastest gaming processor. This thing is gonna absolutely shred for him. And fortunately for me, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so I have a micro center nearby. So we were able to get a bundle, because right now, as you guys probably also know, it's Ramageddon. So RAM prices are just absolutely insane. They've doubled, tripled in a lot of cases, and it's just crazy how much RAM is going for these days. So we were able to bundle it with their Asus TUF B650E Wi-Fi for the motherboard, and then we got 32 gigabytes of the G.Skill Flare DDR5 RAM. This is a 6000 CL36. Should be plenty fast. It's sad to see how crazy RAM prices have gotten. For 100 bucks, you could have got a 6000 CL30 kit not too long ago. And now with the bundle, this was 270 bucks. I think the CPU was like 350, and then the motherboard was like around 150 or 130. So all in, you're probably looking at 770 bucks, 750 for the whole platform. Could have been cheaper, but with the bundle prices, it at least made it like a little bit more palatable. So that, and then he's going with one M.2 drive. This is the Samsung 990 Pro, which was a 2 terabyte drive. And Samsung was kind of like the last company to raise SSD prices. Since buying this, it has gone up a little bit in price. Shout out to them for holding off as long as they could, I guess. Hopefully SSDs don't follow suit with RAM and become like absolutely insane. They are a little bit more expensive versus what they were, but Samsung, at least on their flagship stuff like the 990 and 9100, it hasn't gone absolutely crazy. But I'm sure with Crucial backing out of the market, we'll see less supply of consumer SSDs and RAM, and that means that prices are gonna go up, unfortunately. But that's a topic for another day. In addition to that, he wanted something that was gonna last him a while, and he didn't really wanna go down the AMD route. So he went with the 5070 Ti. This is the Gigabyte SFF Edition. So this is the small form factor one. We got this for $729.99 at Micro Center as well. So 20 bucks under MSRP, and should work absolutely phenomenally for him. He also went, based on my recommendation, you guys know that Be Quiet's like my favorite brand. So we're going with the air cooler, the Dark Rock 5. This should be plenty for everything that he's doing, just gaming and light work. And then we went with the Be Quiet Power Zone 2 1000 watt platinum power supply. So this should be plenty of headroom. Really only needed like an 850 watt for this PC in particular, but this will allow him, if he wants to upgrade to the 60 series or something in the future, he'll be able to do it without swapping out his power supply. And he is the type of guy that likes to keep all of his stuff as long as possible and not swap it out too often. So this should be great for him. And then we're putting some case fans in the case to go with it. We went with the Pure Wings fans. These are great. They'll be super quiet, no frills. I don't think there's an ounce of RGB on this entire PC, besides maybe the power button on the case might be the only thing that lights up. So that was fine with him. He didn't really care about the looks too much, just wanted something to perform great and be quiet. I'm hooking him up with this case. You guys probably saw this in one of our recent build videos. This is the Fractal Epic case. Didn't work out great for me and what I do on a daily basis, just because this piece right here, it makes it hard for me to get GPUs swapping out constantly when I do my benchmark videos. So I told him to save him a little bit of dough. I'd hook him up with this bad boy, and then I also hooked him up with a couple other things just to make the build complete We got an AM5 contact frame. Make sure that we're cooling it. Got maximum contact from the CPU cooler. We got a cable extension kit from Easy DIY Fab. And then we have a fan hub from the same company, Easy DIY Fab. So all in, I think this is gonna be an awesome build. Gonna be silent, gonna perform great. I think I'll be really happy with it. So get to building, guys. Let me know what you think. The first thing we're gonna do is install the CPU, the SSD, and the memory. So we are gonna remove, you guys can see here, we're gonna remove the brackets that come with this motherboard, and we're gonna replace that with the contact frame and then the brackets for the Be Quiet cooler. All right, so I'm removing the contact frame that comes with the motherboard. And you want to do it in a star pattern so it doesn't just like fly off one corner at a time. So you just remove it all simultaneously. Okay. And then after that, I'll just inspect the CPU socket, make sure that there's no bent pins on a brand new motherboard. I've never seen it before, but nothing's impossible. So, but you always want to double check. And now we'll install the CPU and we'll drop the contact frame on over the top of that. So, got the old 9800X3D here. And then our contact frame. So these came out for the first time with like Intel with their 12th and 13th gen. Might have just been the 13th gen where they had the IHS, which is the integrated heatsink that's on top of the actual CPU, was bending. And so you wouldn't get like great contact from the cooler to the CPU. So what this does, just slots in right over the top, prevents that from bending, and just gets you great contact between your CPU and your motherboard. And especially with like the AMD chips that have kind of like, it's not like a perfect square on their IHS. If you do any sort of like cooler swapping or stuff, this just prevents all the thermal paste from like gunking up in between everything. So it just makes your life a whole lot easier. If you don't swap your hardware that often, that's really not a huge deal. But if you're a PC geek like me, you probably do it more often than not. And so same thing, when this is going back on, you just kind of do it in a star pattern. Voila. And there you have it. So now we have our CPU installed with the contact frame on there. And so now we need to get the RAM installed. You're always gonna go with the 2nd and 4th motherboard slot, unless it says otherwise in your manual. But I've built, gotta be more than 50 computers at this point, and I've yet to encounter one that uses slots 1 and 3. So let me know down in the comments below if you've built a computer that only wanted slots 1 and 3 for the memory. So here is the G.Skill Flare RAM. Nothing really super special about it. It's just all blacked out. I'll put this in DIMM slot number 2. Got one good click. Bada bing. We have our memory installed. Now, next we are going to get our SSD in there. Let's get a small little Phillips screw. And this motherboard only comes with one M.2 heatsink. Guess I can do this way, so give you guys a better view. So we'll pop this off. And we'll get this installed here. So this will go down just like so. And voila, it's got his M.2 installed. So now the last thing that we need for the motherboard is just to get the Be Quiet cooler mounted on there. And since it's a small cooler, we could probably mount it on there immediately and then just plop it right in the case with the cooler on. So that's what we'll do. All right, so this is the Dark Rock 5 air cooler. I think this one goes for about 65 bucks. Pre-tariffs, I think you could find this probably around 50 bucks. But I think that went up a little bit in price. You get a Silent Wings fan with it. Awesome fan. And it comes with a shorter cable connector on their air cooler, so you don't have a giant cable kind of floating around, or if you buy the case fans, they come with longer connectors. Looking good, looking good. Got the air cooler here. And interestingly enough, it doesn't have a plastic piece on the bottom here. I wonder if we got an open box one. Doesn't look, there's no dust or anything. Maybe they just didn't put a plastic piece on the bottom. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm wondering if this is used. Usually it comes with a spatula too. I think we got a used one. I wonder, I didn't do the order, Brian ordered it. I wonder if he bought an open box one. I'll ask him. Hey, did you buy an open box on the CPU cooler?
No.
Okay. There's a couple, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's gonna work just fine. But there's a couple of things that made me think, this might be open box. Like the bottom, that usually has a piece of plastic on what connects the CPU cooler to the CPU, like that plate, didn't have like the little plastic piece to peel off. The mounting hardware, I could tell like it had been mounted before. Like there's a little, you could see where the screw kind of put down on the bracket. That's interesting. I think we definitely got an open box, but it's fine. I mean, it's gonna work just fine, but just kind of weird.
Yeah.
So definitely got a used air cooler from Amazon, which is crazy. I've never seen that on a new product. But oh well, it should work just fine. It comes with these little mounting pieces here. So what we're gonna do is we are going to put these down on top of the little screws that come on the motherboard. And if Intel is watching, they somehow are watching my channel, which I doubt it. They need to take notes from AMD, because the mounting system on AMD motherboards is so much easier than Intel motherboards, and I can't for the life of me figure out why Intel wouldn't just adopt the same platform. Maybe they felt like they didn't need to because they were dominant for so long, but AMD is now kicking their ass. They need to switch some things up. Does it have instruction manual in here on how I'm supposed to put the brackets on? It does not. No instruction manual. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna mount like so. Or does it mount this way? I think it does it this way. That can't be. It's gotta be for more RAM clearance. So if it went on this way, all right, well, let's see if I put that on there correctly. Yep, we did. We are good to go, my friends. It even comes with a free screwdriver. Shout out, be quiet. So we are going to apply our thermal paste, which I feel like came with half as much as it usually does, because somebody used it before. I feel like, you know what they probably did? They probably bought this CPU cooler, and then when they returned it, you know how Amazon will ask you, is the packaging unopened? They probably just put, yeah, the packaging is unopened, and nobody at Amazon actually checks. I bet that's exactly what happened. But let me know in the comments, what would you guys do? Would you return it and get a new one? Would you tell Amazon they should just give you a partial refund because they sent you a used one? You guys let me know. Always try and clean my hands as quickly as possible after using thermal paste, or else you get thermal paste everywhere and it's a total pain in the butt. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna mount this sucker down on here. Okay. Okay, and then they give you this screwdriver because you gotta put it down through the top here. But man, ratcheting screwdriver is so much easier to use. Okay, we are good to go there. Plop this on top there. We are going to mount this right here. Here's where they want the CPU fan. I don't love that though, because we gotta change where, we gotta hide that cable. I wonder if we do it like this, it'll hide that cable better. Yes, it will. It's the little things that make your PC awesome, you know? You know, when you've done like a great job with cable management and everything looks super clean. Like, you ever see on like PC part picker, like first time builder or whatever, and they just like have all the cables just like all over the inside. You're like, what are you doing? Now here is a look at our finished platform. Not too shabby, huh? It's gonna be awesome. So now we gotta get this sucker installed in the case. We're gonna remove all of our panels here. And anybody watching, are you that person in your friend group that builds everybody computers? It seems like all of my friends are rocking computers that I built, which is cool, but it also makes you like the designated IT support for everybody, which kind of sucks, but I'd say it's still cool. Let's get this thing plopped in here. Let's remove our plastic from I/O. You're all lined up there. And now it's time to mount our motherboard. And you don't want to over tighten your motherboard screws, just FYI, because you could easily strip them or strip the standoffs that they go into. And you don't want to do that. No, 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 no. Don't want to do that. All right. I don't know what kind of voice that was, but we're rolling with it. We are rolling with it, ladies and gentlemen. I say ladies and gentlemen, but 100% of my viewership on YouTube is male. There's no ladies watching, but if you are watching, thank you. So we have the motherboard mounted in this with everything. Probably tough to see unless I have direct light coming in because it's so blacked out. But we're looking pretty good. So let's get the case fans installed and let's clean up the workspace a little bit and we'll keep on rocking and rolling. So we are gonna go with 3 fans in the front and we're gonna pull air in from the front. It's gonna go through the CPU cooler and then out the back. We'll have 1 exhaust fan here. At some point, maybe he'll add another fan up here, but for what we're doing, this should be plenty of airflow. Put this one in the back here. It's gonna go up and over the top. Maybe, just maybe. Okay, so that one we got, we'll add a couple more screws in a little bit, and then we gotta mount these up front. I mean, these fans are such a good value for like 10 bucks a pop. Really the only thing that I wish they came with was just like some rubber, like vibration dampening stuff. It's just hard plastic. But if they had any sort of like vibration dampening stuff on these corners, I mean, these are just phenomenal case fans. And the be quiet at some point, I do so much of your stuff, you're gonna watch. Please make fans that daisy chain together so that there'd be one cable, just like the Lee and Lee fans, and then you could just pop them together. People who don't like RGB also like clean cable management, so please make those for us. I'll be waiting, and you can send me some for review. All right, so let's get these mounted up front. You know, I should have done this first because I forgot what a pain in the butt this case is. So let's see if I didn't screw the pooch here, because this bottom one I feel like is gonna be the tricky one. Can we mount it on the front? You can mount them on the inside. That's probably gonna be the easiest way. I think on my other build I did it on the outside. We'll do this one on the inside. Yeah, definitely. I think I definitely did it this way last time. I wonder if we do it on this side, we're gonna have these kind of blocking a little bit of the airflow. So I think airflow purposes, it's better to do it this way. We're just gonna bite the bullet and do it that way. We're gonna do it the right way for our friend Brian. Okay, there's one. You gotta feed it through here. And let's throw on number 2 now. Yeah, putting the air cooler on first is gonna make installing this top fan kind of difficult because my screwdriver is too big. Now we got this bad boy right here. Maybe we can get the top ones on. Can he do it? All right, we got one in. That's a good start. All right, we did it without having to remove the CPU cooler. So now we got our fans installed. We got our front 3, our rear 1. We got our whole motherboard platform in there. So now we are going to get our cables routed, make everything look nice and neat and tidy. So let's get those cables plugged in. So we're gonna get the first one routed up here. Okay, I'm gonna put this up and through. I don't know if you guys can see this really, but my one complaint with this case was just the amount of space they give you to do this sort of stuff. And then this one, since it's only a 8+4 on the CPU connector, we're only gonna be using 1/2 of the cable extension. So we are going to put this up and through, like so. All right, so we're looking good there. Now let's get the motherboard one installed. Route this through here. Like so. And then last but not least, we need to get the fan hub connected and then the front panel connected, and we should be good to go. All right, so now that we have pretty much everything on the front taken care of, considering just the graphics card left, we're gonna get the power supply ready to roll here. We already have all of the front side wired. So basically, we just need to get the power supply out, connect everything here, set up our fan hub, plug in the graphics card, and we're done. So the nice thing about building a computer that doesn't have RGB and a lot of those things, and you're just using an air cooler, is it's so much more simple and it's way quicker to get it all going. Less to worry about longevity wise too with an air cooler. Like when you go with a radiator and a pump, Obviously, you're gonna get superior cooling performance, but the likelihood that something fails goes way up. Take a look here at this power supply. Pretty cool, pretty good looking. Simple, to be quiet. It's got a different like texture to it on the side from some of their power supplies that I've used before. It's got a way different texturing than some of their other power supplies. Almost looks like almost like a sparkle or like a, I don't know, like a asphalt look to it, but pretty cool. Good looking power supply there. So that's gonna go in the back. So what we're gonna need for this, we're gonna need SATA power for the PWM. We're gonna need our, wow, and it comes with a 90-degree GPU connection too, which is awesome. Maybe I'll just stick with that one. Won't look quite as nice as the other one, but that's pretty cool. I wonder if it's I wonder if the Gigabyte card has the sense pins on the bottom like this one is. It'd be interesting if you bought this and it came with that, and then you had a GPU that had the reverse way. You'd need a whole new cable. Okay, there's our SATA power. Okay. So this is our motherboard connection. Okay. And then we need 2 for CPU. Let's VGA. Here's CPU. There's 1 and 2. And then here's our power connector. All right. Okay, get that wired up. So my only complaint with Be Quiet power supplies, and it's really just aesthetically, they could do better with their cables. Obviously their power is top notch, they're super quiet, like everything else is fantastic. That's why I recommend them and use them. But I just feel like they could, you know, for what you pay for them, they could put a like nicer sleeved cable in there, like what comes with the Lee & Lee power supplies. And that would just make them the only choice. I haven't used Seasonic, so I'd like to, I know that they have really good power supplies too, so I hear. All right, so we have our power supply all wired up. So now we're gonna get the bracket from the case, and we're gonna connect that like so. And they always give you 5 screws for the power supply. You only need 4, but I guess they assume you're gonna lose one. So now this should slide right into the back of the case. Let's get the right angle for the camera here. So I'm gonna take all this stuff out, and we're gonna slide all this stuff in. Okay. So now we have this mess to deal with back here, and we are going to get this all wired up neatly, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, we have the cable management done for the most part. We just gotta get the graphics card unboxed and plugged in. So we're gonna flip it around. We're gonna hide most of this stuff as well, so you won't really be able to see it while it's in use. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Plastic. Nope. All right, so we got some Gigabyte caution tape. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right, super stealthy look to it. I'll come bring it close to the camera. I love how they call this a small form factor. This, you know, on the 30 series would have been full size. But pretty good looking. I think it's gonna go in nicely. Didn't give me a super satisfying click. Didn't like pop in right away, but we're in. No issues. We're gonna screw this one down. I'm actually gonna put the computer on its back so that when we mount it, it's level. Not too shabby. So overall, I'd say that this build is a fantastic reminder that you don't need to have a flagship part in every category in your PC. I'm guilty of chasing the best of the best and always having to be on the bleeding edge of tech, but this is an example of how a really nice price to performance PC is overkill in reality for 2025. When we look at the performance of this, it's incredible. I mean, 4K, we're getting 178 FPS average. 1440p, we're getting 255 FPS average. So if you're playing Call of Duty, you can max out a 4K 165 hertz monitor. You can max out a 1440p 240 hertz monitor. I mean, what more could you want out of a system than both of those things? But the real secret sauce to all this is the tuning and optimization. Out of the box, we got 139 FPS average, which is great. But then when we overclocked and undervolted the CPU and the GPU, we were able to pump that up to about 149 FPS. And then when we put a custom config file on top of it, we were able to get 178 FPS. So that's an increase of 28% performance for just tweaking settings. Most people out of the box just turn on XMP and get to gaming. That's totally fine if you want to do that. But in reality, there's a ton more left on the table if you want to just spend a little bit of time tuning and optimizing your PC. And that's what the whole goal of this channel is to figure out how far we can push the hardware and help you guys tune your systems so that you can get the same results at home. So I linked that custom config file down in the description. You're more than welcome to use it. If you are using a different CPU than what we have here, just make sure that you change the renderer worker count in there to your CPU. A general rule of thumb is if you're on an 8-core CPU, you put 7 for the renderer worker count, 6-core you put 5. So whatever your core count is, -1, that's a pretty safe rule of thumb. But as always, you should test a few of them and see what gets you the best performance for your individual system. But as far as this PC for Brian, I think it totally fits the bill for what he's looking for. I mean, it's simple, it's quiet, it's reliable, it's super fast, it's gonna shred AAA titles, it's gonna be future-proof for him. You know, he kept his last PC until it broke. You know, he had that thing for 5 years. Hopefully this lasts him a bit longer than 5 years. I think he's gonna be super happy with it. I'm sure you guys would be super happy with it too. But let me know down in the comments what you think. I mean, is this the best PC we could have built him for 2,000 bucks? Did we mess up on something? Is there something that you would have changed? I'm interested to see what you guys think about this. And we are on a mission, guys, to hit 1,000 subs so we get monetized. That way we can keep buying CPUs, GPUs, headsets, gaming monitors, stuff like that. So we can test them and let you guys know, what the best is so you can get every ounce of performance out of your setups at home. So if you found this helpful or entertaining, please consider subscribing and helping us on our way to that goal. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys out on the battlefield.